Hello and welcome back to the Matrix Green Pill podcast. I'm Hilmarie Hutchison, and today I am so excited to introduce Darshan Pindoria, the founder of Deep Psych, a platform dedicated to transformative self-help and personal growth. With over a decade of experience in therapy, Darshan has combined his training in Eastern psychology from India with Western psychological techniques to create a truly unique and impactful approach to mental health and well-being. Darshan, welcome and thank you so much for joining me today.
Great to be here.
So to start with, can you please tell us and our audience a little bit about yourself and your journey into the world of psychology and therapy?
Essentially, it started off in my student life. I wasn't too well behaved at one point. I had to go through my own transformation, get myself cleaned up in terms of my focus in studies, my behavior outside of school, a bit of a social change as well. To make that journey, I went to India. It was in 2010, got to spend 4 weeks out there. That's when I changed my career path from IT to psychology. So I got inspired by the yogis in an ashram. This was, like I said, because everything was so new at the time, everything's just coming at me spontaneously. It had to go on based on feeling at the time. Because everything just felt new, I need to explore this, I need to explore the amount of new topics that were coming at me. When I was in the ashram, I thought, okay, yes, psychology seems like the way. That's when I changed my degree from IT to psychology. I came back to the UK, studied psychology for the 5 years after, and I really thought, oh yes, psychology, I'm learning it, I'm covering all the topics. This is modern day psychology. I used to spend extra hours in the library studying topics outside of my degree. For my dissertation, studied this topic authenticity. I always had it in my head. After I study, I'm going back to India, going to go train up with the yogis and spend a year in ashram straight after my university. So done my university degree. Yeah, I know the topic now. I plenty about psychology. I found myself a psychology trainer, one of the yogis. He was really versed in the topic. He knows both Eastern and Western psychology. And we used to sit down, have long talks, and to be honest, he used to shred me apart. I used to think I knew the topic. I used to think, yeah, I'm the guy with the degree. And he used to ask me simple questions that I just didn't know the answer to because they just didn't teach it. Me in modern day psychology, stuff like how is sleep generated, what are you thinking whilst you're sleeping, how do you know when you've started a thought or finished a thought, where does the thought originate from? Simple questions, but just didn't know the answers.
To say it in a kind way, well, maybe not so kind way, he cut you down to size.
Definitely.
By showing you that you weren't all that, you didn't know as much, because book training and university training is not quite the same as hands-on experience, right?
This is what's happened. You can't really study a topic like psychology. Psychology is an experience-based topic. So the people that challenge their mind on a daily basis, they're the ones that are worth learning psychology from, instead of the ones that just speculate on the people around them on specific topics, but you don't really experience psychology. So that became a whole different learning style. It will stop becoming a case of looking at a book. Assess yourself, challenge yourself, assess how you performed in that challenge. That's where Eastern psychology really became a thing for me.
Amazing. So sort of along the same lines, growing up in a traditional Indian family, how did your early experiences shape your decision to eventually pivot from IT to a career in psychology?
Oh, yeah. My parents, they weren't too happy when I changed to psychology. It was against the norm, if that makes sense. So it's like an unknown topic. Is there a financial future in this topic? And back then, it wasn't really spoken about much in the Indian community. Even today, it's not a famous topic to talk about. It's very hidden. It's very seen as a form of weakness if you talk about mental health and mental illnesses. So you could say it's a case in many of the minority communities. Now it's my job to the change, be part of the awareness era. So growing up in that type of environment, it was a step, but I was going on instinct. I was going on the feel factor, and that's what kept me going in a deeper end of psychology instead of just get a degree and let that be it.
Your time in the ashram in India sounds to have been truly transformative for you. Can you talk a little bit more about the experience and how it influenced your personal and professional growth?
Perfect. Yeah, ashram life, that's really the game changer. So when someone goes on holiday, they like to explore the place around them. When I went to ashram, it was a case of exploring everything within me. Having those conversations every single time we have a conversation is more about what did I experience, what's going on the inside, how well Am I controlling my thoughts? How creative are my creative thoughts going? So if I just give an example, the first day I got to ashram, my friend, he used to be in the UK, he took up a life as a yogi, and the first thing he told me, you came as something, you leave as nothing. This is the concept of the ashram. You come here with all this baggage, you come here with a lot of weight on your mind, you come here with false expectations, you come here with the notion to follow what the world teaches you. Now that you're here, you need to learn to feel nothing, essentially, to know what nothingness is. Then once you know what nothingness is, then when you add to yourself, you can see clearly. Seeing yourself clearly, that's all part of the journey. And then the people that you meet, I was with 230 yogis. The amount of individual time and attention that I got with them, I used to sit and talk, have conversations for around 9 hours a day. Whatever I learn in the morning, it's kind of already hard to remember by the evening. I'm taking notes all day. I'm getting my next line of questions ready, and just every single day trying to find new aspects of myself. I was waking up 2:30 in the morning. We go for a bath in the lake. We do our yoga practice in the morning, and throughout the day, I've got so much energy. It's unbelievable, and it's being able to sleep on hard floor, bath in cold water. All these things that they're just a challenge in the UK. Over there, that's just part of normal life. It doesn't even feel like a challenge. It feels just like a better way to do things.
Sounds like an amazing experience. Also a bit challenging for us who are used to the comforts, creature comforts, but something, as you say, so transformative in your life.
It's that whole notion of just going from learning based on information being told to me or being read to learning based on pure experience. If I ask a question, they'll tell me a few things to do. I go do it. And then even my question will change. Even my perspective on the whole topic will start changing. If I start asking about how to generate creative thinking, they won't just tell me the answer. They'll tell me, okay, sit down, do this, change your breathing in this aspect, then come back to me and we'll talk about what went through your mind at that time. Then all of a sudden, when I go back for that conversation, the questions all change now. I'm trying to think about, okay, why does breathing do this to my thought process? Because you're going from one experience to another, you just start seeking experience. You're not asking for knowledge directly after.
Yeah, it sounds like they're not spoon-feeding you. They're giving you the tools, or they're teaching you to use the tools to discover the answers by yourself, which is far more impactful than someone just giving you the answer. That's the easier way.
When we start doing it for ourselves, we start realizing this is the story with everyone. We're all loaded with experiences, we're just not tapping into them. We keep looking at social media or YouTube, etc. for answers instead of doing a bit of trial and error on ourselves, instead of trying to do that hard activity which will cause an uproar of different experiences within us. Yeah, it's experience-based learning.
Yeah, it's like a sport. You can watch videos all day of someone dunking a basketball, but you can watch 1,000 hours, but you'll never do it unless you go out and actually practice and actually learn to do it. And that's the difference between someone spoon-feeding you or just giving you knowledge versus going out and actually practicing yourself to master something.
Exactly.
You've studied both Eastern and Western forms of psychology. Can you maybe share some of the key differences between the two approaches and how they complement each other?
Essentially, they say it's the inside-out approach or outside-in. So some ways of looking at it is if you just study everyone around you and then try to figure out yourself, that would be the Western approach. The Eastern approach is study yourself and then you will know how everything works around you. Let's just take the topic of anger. If we try and look at why we get angry, what's going on, if you look at everyone around us, you're going to find a few common things. But when you look at yourself, you start finding that anger all of a sudden is not a bad thing. It's just a faster way of thinking. Really and truly. When you think faster, you breathe faster. When you breathe faster, all of a sudden the energy is no longer in your hands and feet. The energy is just thriving to your head. It's causing the same sensations as when maybe you had another experience in life, such as anxiety or fear. That whole internal perspective. Then when you start looking at why is it happening to other people, you start looking for those same things that were happening to you. So I used to have a heavy anger problem. In ashram, I got it cleared. And since then, I've never been able to get angry ever again. It's just thanks to using the Eastern perspective. If I was to use Western modern methods of overcoming anger, I don't think I'll be able to do it to that level. Now, once anger's gone from the inside, you can't even generate it on purpose. That's the level to which Eastern psychology, it could reroute something from a lot deeper. If you do it from Western perspectives, it's a learning curve. You end up just keep learning about it and you're kind of taught just to live with it after.
I love the way you say that inside out versus outside in. Really interesting. Let's shift gears again and talk about Deep Psych, it sounds like it was something deeply personal to you to found or to create Deep Psych. What inspired you to create the platform, and what is the core mission?
Deep Psych essentially was short for deep psychology. I've always been taught if you know something on a deeper level, then the surface level matters fit into place automatically. Just example's sake, if we want to know about memory, then learning about focus would be the deeper topic. Once you know about focus, all of a sudden memory is into place automatically, because the things that we remember are the ones that at the time took our focus the most. So it's just knowing the deeper topic and then covering the deeper topic to help people overcome the little things. When it comes to taking on clients, I've been in therapy for the last 12 years. That's when I used to take on clients, and then from knowing my style, from learning about how I've been covering each therapy session, that's when I decided to call it Deep Psychology, because the way I was covering things, someone will come to me with a topic of diet issues or their eating habits, or they'll come to me with anxiety or depression type of traits. From that, I was able to find a deeper pattern. Maybe the deeper pattern was that they're not being physically activated. How does their physiology and psychology match? On a deeper level, we were able to sort that, and the surface level matters. They just clear themselves. And that's the same way anger was cleared for me, the same way various other perspectives came into my life. I thought the problem was one thing, but really it was a whole deeper matter. And once the deeper matter was sorted, a whole load of other things just came into line, came into perspective, and the question just changes once you start looking at a deeper perspective. So I'll build my channel, Deep Psychology. I started posting videos regularly, and done a venture to the Himalayas as well. All of these things just to keep adding to the notion of deep psychology.
That sounds excellent. So it's the deeper you go, then things that might be more surface, or you'll be able to solve other problems. The things that might be visual or that we might be obvious to us or we might think is the problem, there's actually a deeper root cause to it. And once we get down to that deeper root, then we can deal with the other things that come as a result of that. Now, I know your work focuses heavily on self-help and personal growth. What would you say is the first step for someone looking to embark on their own journey of self-discovery?
When it comes to self-discovery, a lot of the times people come from a place of issues. If you're trying to overcome an issue in your life at the moment, and that's leading you to self-discovery, what we end up realizing, it's like a weaker state we end up realizing. We end up just focusing on the issues. We don't really expand on the whole picture. A few family issues going on at the moment, or relationships aren't working out, and then that leads me to disconnect and find my own way inwards and go through a self-discovery. But whilst I'm on that self-discovery, I'm just seeing faults in the way other people are or in the way human nature is. That starts drifting my line towards a different direction. This was me as well. And the fact that I had yogis, I had people to confer with, that's what kept me in the right direction. Otherwise, I think even if I went on my own journey of self-discovery, I would have only found what was comfortable. I would never have gone into the uncomfortable zones of self-discovery, because it's one of those things. It's, when you go to the lake, if you start mixing up the water, the dirt from the bottom surfaces. And this is the same thing with self-discovery. As soon as we start looking inwards, we get hit with the good and the bad. This is why I say it's make sure your life is in a comfortable spot before you start the self-discovery process, because if you just go in trying to clear dirt, that's all you're going to get. You're just going to get a nicer and a bit of a clear platform, but you won't actually get that concept of self-discovery. The biggest form of self-discovery is closing your eyes and seeing what's coming up. If you think your thoughts are in control, or if you think your thoughts are of good nature or bad nature, the only way you're going to know is once you close your eyes and whatever's coming up.
Yes, so there are those experiences or those thoughts or those things below the surface that we are not dealing with. So when you start this journey of self-discovery, that's what you're going to unearth and you're going to have to deal with before you can expect to have clarity again. That's why you say you need to be sure that you're on a stable place to be able to deal with all that turbulence that you're going to uncover.
If you look in the East, this whole concept of going to an ashram, staying with yogis, or the whole concept of isolating yourself from the world and then doing the practice, it's a famous thing. You could say Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, they've all spent time in an ashram. It's just that notion of dealing with yourself while you're isolated from a lot of the distractions. If you do it whilst you're in the distractions, it's a different process. It's more about getting through, perfecting each activity. It's not really about discovering the full self.
Right, that makes absolute sense. Now, in addition to working with people directly, you also plan to hold events, or you hold events for psychology. Can you give us a glimpse into what these events look like and what the purpose is or what the impact is of these events?
A corporate side of the business, where I go into companies, do workshops, do a lot of work around burnout and just stress and tension. So what happens is there's a lot of physical identifications of mental health issues. So if you've memorized anxiety, there's a lot of pressure points on the body. If you've got a trigger, there's certain thoughts that change your breathing. We start doing these in an event space where everyone feels safe to do so. Whilst this is happening, people start gaining their own experiences within that half an hour or that hour session. When they start doing it, they start getting encouraged to go on their own journey of self-discovery, of trying out a few new things to discover their own mental health. Really and truly, awareness is the biggest savior in this industry. The more things that we're aware of when it comes to mental health is the more aspects we're going to be able to help ourselves on. It's because it's not talked about, a lot of these things. And the fact that we do events, the fact that people enjoy or find their experiences, this is what's bringing a culture alive of introspecting. Mindfulness is a big thing at the moment, but it's one of those things people like to go about mental health in their own aspects. Same thing with physical health. Some people like boxing, some people like the gym, some people like yoga. Same thing with mental health. Some people like the hyperactive type of events, some people like the mellow, soothing sound bath type of events, and some people like pure conversational type of situations to explore the mental health. It's each to their own, but my job's to go in with my style of approach to mental health.
Yes, you are going into companies to help them with things like mindfulness, mental health. So is it only that, or is there more to these sessions that you hold?
What happened with the events, I set out in 2020 to do events, but then lockdown hit. So as soon as lockdown hit, I was doing most of my events virtually. We just used to do sessions online. We used to do discovery sessions. We used to do a lot of sleep mastery topics as well. That took me through lockdown, and then the corporate side picked up. So ever since, I've just been doing corporate events. I do wish to get my own local events going real soon as well. But at the moment, it's in terms of events, it's just been online and for organizations.
Excellent. So organizations can go to your website and they can read up and find out more about how they can contact you and get in touch with you for presenting or for running these workshops with their teams.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us and all that you've gone through. It's amazing, the transformation and where you've got to now and what you're giving back to the community and helping companies and individuals on their own self-help journey. Now we've come to the segment of our show where I will ask you some rapid-fire questions, our version of a game show. Are you ready?
Yeah, that's good.
What is one piece of advice that you would like to leave with our audience today?
The one piece would be your reason to wake up is your reason to live. When we wake up in the morning, that passion, that desire, or whatever's going through our head is heavily linked to the reason we live our life, the reason that powers us up to live. If it's just conforming, if it's just going to the job, if it's just a secondary reason, then there's a lot of introspect waiting to be done. But if there is that fire inside of you, if there is a massive passion for life, that's when you could identify it. So your reason to wake up is your reason to live.
Who is your inspiration and why?
So my guru is someone, is a yogi in ashram. He's age 66 at the moment, and he's a lifelong yogi. He's truly my inspiration. His work ethic, his ability to control his mind, body, state, his ability to study hard. I spent a year with him in close contact. So yeah, he's definitely my inspiration.
What is your favorite childhood memory?
My childhood memories, the best ones would be when I used to get to go India, and we used to play out on the streets with our bikes, and we used to make out like even those things were important. That's one of my biggest lessons in life as well. We used to play all these games. We used to build houses out of sand. We used to get annoyed when someone breaks that house as well. When I look back at that, I start realizing that everything is just a play in life. No matter how meaningful we think it is at the time, one day we realize that it wasn't meaningful at all. It was just play. So same thing today. My playful memories back in the days when I used to go India is still the same concept today.
And what is one thing you do every day, no matter how busy you get?
Meditating 5 times a day. It puts a pause on the day, puts a session of introspect, and it gives me time to be thankful for the things that have happened between the time slots. Yes, sit and pause. Some people can call it meditation. Some people call it a little mindfulness session. But yeah, that sit and pause 5 times a day that's kept me in touch with everything that I learned in an ashram.
That's your non-negotiable.
Yeah, that's definitely the case.
Excellent. Well, thank you for playing along. That was easy enough. Now I'd like to ask you our signature question. Could you share an inspiring or life-changing experience that you have gone through, your green pill moment?
It was heavily experience-based. One yogi told me that everyone gets a free sample of the inner happiness. He got me to sit down. He taught me how to train my breathing, do a few yoga moves freehand. And in that moment, I honestly believe I experienced my happiest experience. It's a concept where everything goes white. You go into a state where you forget what the body is. And it's to that level where he told me that everyone gets their free experience, no matter who it is. Anyone that meditates, they all get their free, deep experience. As soon as you get it, then you realize why it's worth working for it. Since then, I've realized the biggest happiness is within. There's a massive undiscovered world within, and that is worth working for. It is worth attending to, and there's massive benefit in going within. So since that day, from various angles, just been working towards sparking that inner spirit within me.
Thank you so much for sharing that experience with us, something truly transformative that you've gone through. And again, thank you for being here today, for sharing your fantastic story, and also for creating Deep Psych, for creating a platform for others to also be able to go on their journey of self-discovery. That's brilliant that you changed your path from being on IT to providing this service to people. I think there's a lot more benefit. For you to have shifted your focus to give back to the community in this way, I think is absolutely brilliant. Before we say goodbye, could you please tell our listeners where they can find and follow you? And we'll also put this in the show notes.
It's Deep Psych. That's on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. It's short for Deep Psychology. And I post a video pretty much every day. We get to explore psychology topics from a different angle.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you so much for joining me today. I wish you and Deep Psych all the very best.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'd also like to say a big thank you to our amazing listeners. If Darshan's story has inspired you, don't forget to connect with him and follow his journey. If you love this episode as much as I have, please like, share, and subscribe to keep up with more captivating conversations. Your support truly means everything to us.
If you enjoy our conversations, please like and subscribe. See you next Wednesday.